the former deputy president now responding to the president. Do you think that's the right thing to do? Don't you think it would appear somewhat that the president appears vulnerable? No. And he says now, I won't even come to Nil Muto Siniambia vile nitafanya. Even as I respond to that, I like the way Ikua Wambote gets passionate when Mount Kenya is mentioned.
That's where I come from.
And you know, then he wants to tell us that when you come to Kisumu, a crowd in a market means that Linda Mwananchi has taken over Kisumu and the Lake region. While when the president has a structured meeting with grassroots, leaders from Mount Kenya and the crowds in Mount Kenya, then he thinks that does not count. I think they are in denial. The president is doing three things simultaneously and very deliberately. One is that the president is building political structures. And he goes to regions and goes again and talks to the issues and talks to the politics of that particular region. In Mount Kenya, when he goes, he must respond and he must deal with, the theater that is then, Rigathi is trying to build, that Mount Kenya has been, is a fortress that he has built, and that anybody who goes there must kneel before him. The president has proven in, the by-elections that have happened that this is not true. That every time that has been put to test, when he goes to Mount Kenya and you think that he's not going to get numbers, he gets numbers because he has structures on the ground. And the president has said that the numbers that he has on the ground did not start with Rigathi Gachagua. He just made Rigathi Gachagua in 2022. Rigathi Gachagua had never been involved in actual elective politics. But the president has been working with the Mount Kenya people since 2013. And for those of us who worked closely with him in 2017, I can tell you that you remember that Uhuru's friends complained about nominations in Mount Kenya in 2017. Mm-hmm. And the reason why they did that is that the president literally managed a succession in Mount Kenya in which he brought in a younger generation of politicians and ensured that they created structures that have been enduring. And that is why those structures could rebel against President Uhuru Kenyatta. Those structures are still there. Those structures were not created by Rigathi Gachagua. Okay? The other thing, so I said that the first thing that the president is doing is creating structures. The other thing that the president is doing, which Rigathi Gachagua or any opposition leader cannot compete with him on, is the issue of the development politics. The development narrative, that everywhere you go, even though Ikua Wambote would deny that does not happen, the president goes and speaks about the roads. He goes there and speaks about, the schools, the health facilities, coffee, and so on and so forth. And he not only talks about what he promised in 2022, but he also talks about his scorecard. They are not able to attack that scorecard. Rather, they will tell you that they have turned, the Mount Kenya into an ethnic conclave, an ethnic fortress that no one can crack. And that they want then to tell us that Mount Kenya people are so special, that they are different with other Kenyans and other human beings, that they would allow me to get. It's a very risky statement.
No. Why would you let him say that?
Allow me to finish what I'm saying.
And kindly clarify on that one.
You cannot be allowed to actually abuse Mount Kenya.
I've handled it.
I am repeating what he said. And he said that his people are different, and they would come to the ground, they would come to the meetings, but those meetings would not turn into anything. And I am telling him that when the president went to Nyeri about 2 months ago, 1 or 2 months ago, he met with over 17,000 grassroots structures leaders in Nyeri. Those were the polling center leaders of UDA.
So you're challenging a person's assertion, not a community's position.
No, not a community. I'm talking no, I didn't talk about community. I'm talking about when they say that the people of Mount Kenya cannot buy into the president's narrative. They will be waiting for somebody to then give them direction. I would tell him that the president keeps going there, the president keeps meeting the grassroots structures, and they show that the president is able to put, in terms of the levels of engagement and the issues that he's discussing with those grassroots leaders, Gachagua cannot challenge using the market theater.
Gachagua. Yeah. Because it would appear in the president's rallies in Murang'a and elsewhere, Rigathi Gachagua is top of the agenda, and as far as discussion is concerned, even with the deputy president, even the president finding it necessary to defend his deputy president from attacks by his former deputy.
I think, it's one, timing. Number two, with the hard politics here. Timing in the sense that in the past, upon impeachment of the former deputy president, I don't think there was any reason for the president then to respond to Rigathi, because it would have literally showed up the stature and the position of Rigathi as a person vis-a-vis Mount Kenya politics.